evening everyone, and thank you for joining us on our today's session on MLO behavior, insights into impact of MLO on legacy devices and roaming. We are in the era of Wi-Fi 7, a promising standard with high throughput, low latency framework. But even though this MLO is providing us with these impressive benefits, it is very essential to ensure that it performs collaterally well with the already existing features of the AP. So here we are presenting few of our interesting observations that we have discovered during the testing of some of our customers' Wi-Fi 7 APs. So even the MLO is providing us with impressive benefits, it is important for the feature to collaterally exist well with the already functioning well features, such as the basic AP's functionalities. So here in our presentation, our particular focus will be on the client connectivity and the roaming behavior. So first up, we have conducted a DFS CAC testing. So what we did here is, we have a Wi-Fi 7 AP with MLO feature enabled. Then we have configured the AP to a non-DFS channel, let's say 3680 megahertz. And now we are connecting one non-MLD station and the MLD station to the 5 gigahertz link of the AP. Okay? And now we are populating the current 5 gigahertz channel with a high interference such that the AP will decide to move to a better, cleaner channel. And in our case, it happened to be a DFS channel. Let's say channel 100, 160 megahertz. So as we all know, whenever our AP wants to move from a non-DFS channel to a DFS channel, it has to undergo a CAC of 1 or 10 minutes based on the country's regulation, right? During this CAC procedure, what will happen? The AP's 5 gigahertz link will go down for a certain interval and will come up after a certain time. But in this situation, what is happening to our clients, the non-MLD and the MLD clients that we have connected on the 5 gigahertz link? So, based on the theory, we have few expectations for our results. So, as you can see here, on the onset of CAC, the non-MLD station will get disconnected, experiencing some amount of ping loss. Then later, it will reconnect back on the other available bands, right? But coming to the MLD station, as we all know, it has the feature of seamlessly link steering to another links. So what we are expecting is, instead of getting disconnected and reconnecting back, it will just seamlessly link steer to other available links. But do you think this is what actually happened in our case? So let's see what actually happened. As you can see, the red line indicates the non-MLD station. So on the onset of CAC, as we had expected, it got disconnected, experiencing some ping loss, and again got reconnected back on the 2.4 gigahertz band. However, when we are looking at the MLO results, the MLD station, that also got disconnected. And again disconnected and has experienced a ping loss even more compared to the non-MLD station. See, it is like somewhere around 16 seconds of ping loss. And again connected back was the 5 gigahertz it link state like so. Sorry. So after experiencing the ping loss, it got disconnected and connected back on the other available links. Okay. So this is a very unusual behavior. So when we try to, so this is not the only peculiar behavior that we have observed. There is something more peculiar we have observed along with this. Whenever a DFS CAC is running on the 5 gigahertz link, before the onset of the CAC, the AP will send a broadcast diode to all the 5 gigahertz associated clients, right? However, what we observed in our situation is, the AP was sending a broadcast diode on all its available bands. the 2.4 gigahertz band, 5 gigahertz band, and 6 gigahertz band. So it was not only disconnecting the MLD station or the non-MLD station connected on the 5 gigahertz band. It was disconnecting all the clients that are associated on, no matter the band, all the clients that were associated on the AP. So when we digged further into this, what we observed is the reason lies in the architecture, implementation of the MLO in the vendor's AP we were testing. So as we all know that MLO follows this approach. For each and every physical radio we have, there will be a LMAC, right? All the LMACs will be logically linked together to form a UMAC, like a unified bridge. So what's happening here is, whenever one of the link is failing, the bridge is assuming that the whole bridge is failing and the whole bridge is coming down. And due to this, we are observing the broadcast dearth on all the bands and resulting in the disconnection of all the associated stations to the AP. So this was all regarding the CAC behavior, like whenever the MLOs impact on the DFS CAC, which is very essential, and we have to follow the regulations. So we have to follow the regulations here, right? And moving forward, as I was said, we will be looking into the client connectivity, MLO's impact on the client connectivity and the roaming behavior. Let's see what's happening in the roaming scenario.
Thank you, Kiranmai. So yeah, as we discussed, as we all know that majority of today's Wi-Fi deployments are still built on technologies that are prior to Wi-Fi 7. Wi-Fi 7, on the other hand, is a relatively new and emerging standard that promises us with significant improvements in terms of throughput or latency through the features like multi-link operation. But when we think of any new generation of technology that has been included or introduced into an already existing ecosystem, it becomes critical for us to evaluate that it coexists well with what has already been deployed. The challenge does not only derive on achieving like cutting edge performance, but it is very essential to ensure that it should not disrupt the features that are already performing reliably well over the years. One such simple feature, yet very fundamental, is roaming. Ensuring seamless roaming across access points is considered one of the basic Wi-Fi user experience. So let's take a look into the roaming behavior of legacy and modern Wi-Fi 7 clients when there is a mixed network or a hybrid network consisting of Wi-Fi 7 access point with MLO enabled and prior to Wi-Fi 7 generation APs. So let me take you through the test topology. So initially we have a Wi-Fi 7 AP with MLO enabled, and we have a Wi-Fi 6 AP. And we wanted to validate the roaming behavior or the roaming performance of both legacy and modern Wi-Fi 7 clients in this mixed roaming topology. So initially, the client would, either the legacy client or the modern Wi-Fi 7 client, would connect to the Wi-Fi 7 MLO enabled AP. And later, it would slowly roam to the Wi-Fi 6 AP. And here, we are calculating the roam times and we are observing the roaming performance. Later, the same client would roam back from the Wi-Fi 7 or the legacy generation AP or the prior generation APs back to the Wi-Fi 7 MLO enabled AP. So let's take a look into the results of what might have happened to both the legacy and Wi-Fi 7 clients in this topology. Yeah. So the results came out to be quite interesting. So if you look at the third bars, so the blue line, the blue bar indicates when the client is roaming from the Wi-Fi 7 MLO enabled AP to Wi-Fi 6 AP, and the light blue bar indicates when the same client is roaming from the Wi-Fi 6 AP to the Wi-Fi 7 AP. So if you could observe the third bar over here, you can see that whenever the client, these are the results with, to put the context, these are the results with Wi-Fi 7 client. So when the Wi-Fi 7 client is roaming from a Wi-Fi 6 AP to the Wi-Fi 7 enabled MLA enabled AP, you could see that the roam times are exceeding of an acceptable range. Generally, in Wi-Fi, we consider the roam times to be, if they are within 100 milliseconds, we consider them as good. But in our scenario, in this case, the roam times are exceeding 100 milliseconds. When we perform the same test with legacy clients, we observe that the roam times are within 100 milliseconds to and fro when the client is roaming from Wi-Fi 7 to Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6 to Wi-Fi 7. But this was the only issue that was observed when with Wi-Fi 7 clients. So that too when MLO is enabled. So we wanted to understand if this is particular only with MLO enabled, or as we all know, like Wi-Fi 7 with MLO enabled mandates WPA3 security type. So we were wondering, was it an issue? Were the roam times impacted because of WPA3 to WPA2 roaming scenario? So we wanted to validate. Sorry. Yeah. So we wanted to validate whether it is a security type issue. So what we have done was, we have disabled MLO in the network, and the Wi-Fi 7 AP and the Wi-Fi 6 AP are set to WPA2 security type. And we have validated the same performance, the roam times. And we have observed that the first bar indicates, well, with MLO disabled and WPA2 set on both the APs, the roam times are within 100 milliseconds, which is very good. Later, we have set WPA3 security type on both the APs, and we have observed that, again, the roam times are within 100 milliseconds, which is good. So, to point out and to narrow down the issue if it is related to MLO, what we have done was, we wanted to replicate the same scenario, like the WPA3 to WPA2 roaming scenario only, but with MLO disabled. How can we achieve that? So what we have done was, we connected the client to the 6 GHz of Wi-Fi 7 AP, which uses the WPA3. Later, the client would roam back to the Wi-Fi 6 5 GHz AP, which is set to WPA2. So in this scenario, you are achieving you are replicating the same scenario from WPA3 to WPA2 roaming scenario, but with MLO disabled. So this gave us a conclusion. You can see the fourth graph, fourth bars, which indicates that in this scenario with MLO disabled, the roam times are within 100 milliseconds, which pointed out to the fact that this issue was only happening with modern Wi-Fi 7 clients in MLO enabled scenario only. So we were wondering, like, MLO is a feature that told us seamless link steering, low latency, and less delays, all these kind of things. So this observation will be a noticeable impact on real-time applications like gaming or streaming. So let's take a look at what actually happened for this issue. Yes. So as you all know, as I said earlier, like, when the client initially connects to the WPA3 MLO-enabled AP, it has to undergo an SAE authentication followed by a standard 4-way handshake. So after this process, when the client initially connects to the Wi-Fi 7 AP, a PMK ID will be generated, and both your client and the AP would cache this PMK ID to ensure that during the further roams, it would enable to faster reassociations. That's the whole point of having this PMK ID, right? So if you can see here, initially the client connected to the WPA3 enabled AP and has undergone an SAE authentication followed by a 4-way handshake. Later, roamed to the Wi-Fi 6 AP, which has been set to WPA2. So it would send a reassoc request and reassoc response. It would roam back. In that scenario, the roam times were fine. They were within 50 milliseconds. Now comes the point. So here, when the client is roaming back from the Wi-Fi 6 to the Wi-Fi 7 AP, it would send a reassoc request to the Wi-Fi 7. The client would send a reassoc request to the Wi-Fi 7 AP with the cached PMK ID that has been previously generated. So what's the AP's task now? It has to send a reassoc response. It has to process the cached PMK ID, and it has to send a reassoc response in order to attain that faster reassociation. But here is what happened. So whenever with MLO enabled, the Wi-Fi 7 client is roaming from Wi-Fi 6 to the Wi-Fi 7 AP and sending a RESOC request, we are observing that the RESOC response from the AP is taking around more than 200 milliseconds. Like, the AP is taking 200 milliseconds to send a RESOC response, which caused the increase in roam times. So although we were unable to completely point out to the issue why the AP is taking longer times to send a RESOC response, so we went into the packet captures if this is happening in the MLO disabled case as well. Yeah, so in this case, when the client is sending the RESOC request to the Wi-Fi 7 MLO enabled AP, the RESOC response from the AP was just fine. It was under 50 milliseconds. So this pointed out to the issue that the AP is taking longer times to process the cached data when MLO feature is enabled. Yes, so this kind of test results, we all know that MLO advertises like we can achieve seamless link resiliency and higher throughputs. But after testing this and after finding out these results, we have understood that whenever any new generation of technology is being added into an existing ecosystem, as Shashank already mentioned in his previous presentation, like in real time scenarios, you don't need 10 Gbps or 40 Gbps throughputs. Your AP must perform well in basic things like client connectivity and these roaming legacy features. So this set of results gave us a conclusion that features like this MLO or the coming newer features have to coexist well with already established features that are working reliably over the years. So to sum up, Kinumai would like to add the points.
To sum up our presentation, the key takeaways of our testing is, as we have observed, the MLO's impact on DFS CAT testing and the roaming scenario that Shamla has explained now. So, as we know, we have the majority of our ecosystem consists of prior to Wi-Fi 7 APs and the prior to Wi-Fi 7 features. So, whenever we are introducing a new technology, such as like in our case, which is Wi-Fi 7, since the majority consists of prior to Wi-Fi 7, we have to ensure that it collaterally or it has a backward compatibility with the already existing ecosystem. So, in case of the DFS CAT, since only one link is failing, the whole bridge is in the impression that the whole UMAC bridge has collapsed. And you know, as we all know, the UMAC is responsible for the procedures related to association and security and all. So UMAC is the bridge between the station and the AP to have like the station to remain associated to the AP, right? With one link failing, the whole bridge is collapsing down and resulting in the disassociation of all the connected stations on the AP. And when coming to the roaming, as we all know, gaming, video calls, these all are low latency activities which require less latency and less roam time. So whenever we are on a video call and walking here and there and we have to roam between Wi-Fi 7 and Wi-Fi 6 AP, it is very essential that we keep in mind that the latency, the roam times are low. So to conclude our presentation, since MLO is a new feature and we are running behind testing the high throughput and other MLO features that the Wi-Fi 7 is providing us, it is also important that we look into how collaterally well it is coexisting with the already existing features. Thank you.
So what kind of clients, what are the exact clients for MLO and APs you have used in this testing? Because I wanted to know, because very recently I have seen some client-side issues, like MLO clients are also buggy. And there are really a lot of problems in MLO clients also, like the real devices I'm talking about. On the AP side, I think the implementation that the AP vendors have done, the platform vendors have done, it's not standard across all the platforms. They have done some special customizations and probably there are bugs on this. So I just wanted to know which platform you've seen this issue, or is there a specific AP model or a specific type of rail device that you're facing, or it's like a generic across all the APs and generic across all the stations?
Thank you for your question. So regarding the AP vendors, I'm sorry we cannot disclose it since we have an NDA with them. But however, as I mentioned about the DFS CAD testing, so we have checked across like couple of AP vendors. So this issue was reproducible. And regarding the clients, maybe we can like specify the clients we have used. So for the DFS CAT one, we have used OnePlus and Google Pixel client. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
What about the PNK issues, like the second issue?
That we have verified with Samsung S25 and also Google Pixel 8. Yeah.
Okay.